So you've done over 100, 150 projects with brands, right? In different formats, getting their message out there. What's your best case study so far? Like, what's one that stands out the most?
My favorite right now is the HVAC client, because they took a chance on us because we hadn't done HVAC before, but we knew the framework, and we partnered up, and on their slowest month, they made $15,000 or $25,000 last year in January. This year they made $87,000 from just a few more sales that came from the campaign we built for them.
Welcome back to Growth Lab Sessions. I'm Joao, CEO of Stealth White Label Agency, and our goal is to help agencies scale with systems. Today's guest is Vic Happens, founder of Brandcrumbs Media. Started with video, now delivers strategy, ads, automation. He's helped brands grow with content that actually converts. Vic, welcome to Growth Lab Sessions. Are you ready to take it to the lab?
Yeah, man, I'm excited to be on this end this time.
All right, let's go. Let's kick things off talking about your background. Give us a little bit of, how you got here.
Dude, I was doing music promotion, like concert promotion, and we got a studio up on the second floor of a club that we would book shows on, and we would bring the artists up there, and we set up a small podcast studio up there. I'm like, this is great. And then the pandemic happened, and all our shows for the rest of the year got just taken off the schedule, and podcasts were still a thing. So we started doing podcasts in a different studio and kept that going during 2020. I found that and I used my video production background, our editing background. I started as a freelancer first, didn't hire someone until a year after, and then realized that podcasts are great. They're a good medium, right? Obviously. And I enjoy them, but the churn is crazy because people give up. So then we switched that to actually helping them get a result. Instead of trying to get follows and sponsors and subscribers, we switched over to strategy and digital marketing to actually get them revenue, and it's working.
Yeah, no, I love that. Like, the pandemic forced so many people to pivot, right? And then even after, when you started the podcast approach, you realized people were churning and giving up, right? I heard a stat recently that people give up in the first 20 podcasts. Do you think that's accurate?
No, they give up in the first 6.
Ooh.
Yeah, man. So we had a rule that they have to film at least 6 episodes with us before we release their first episode.
Okay.
And keep them going.
Why do you think people give up?
I think it's instant gratification, man. Like, people want to become Joe Rogan overnight. They think a podcast is going to work. And they also don't promote it. So they just put it out. They put a couple posts on their social media to their 100 followers, and then they're not famous. They're not getting subscriptions. So they give up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, it's expensive.
I hear that. Yeah, I mean, it is expensive, right? Like, when you worked with people, what was the engagement like in terms of what services did you provide?
We did end-to-end turnkey. I guess turnkey is not the right word, but we did end-to-end podcast production. So we would help with the strategy, set up the show, figure out exactly who is for, who is not for, and then we would actually we do all the setup of all the channels, trailer, all the copy, and then on the branding of it. Then we would do the podcast episodes we'll help them film it, like either Riverside like this or in person in our studio here, and then we would edit it. We would publish it, make the we call them crumbs, but they're like clips, like social media clips, right? And we wouldn't post it for them, but we would hand it over to them. So we would do everything. All they had to do is come in, sit down, talk, and leave. And it was all done.
Cool. Awesome. And, in terms of a success of a podcast, right? Like, is there some sort of format that you would just generally say that works really well nowadays? Like, let's say I've been shooting this podcast, right? It's a video, it's an hour long. We put it on YouTube, and then we do the crumbs, right? Like the short form clips that we post on social, but that's more like the Instagram Reels, Shorts, and TikTok. But would you say there has to be more in terms of clips generation from one single podcast? A quick break in the podcast to tell you about Stealth, my white label marketing agency. If you're an agency owner and feeling stuck in fulfillment, hiring, and team management while trying to scale, this is for you. Stealth helps agency owners like you take fulfillment off your plate so you can focus on growth of your agency, from running ad campaigns and SEO to creating high converting content and managing CRMs. We handle the back end for your clients so you don't have to. Whether you're drowning in client work or struggling to scale your agency, Stealth gives you the support you need to scale without the headache. And if that sounds like a fit, then check out our website link in the description and book a time to speak with a consultant. And now back to the podcast.
To answer your question, the place we were going was, podcasts are visual now, right? They're technically an audio medium. Like, you can drive, you can work out. That's how it started, but it's evolved. Now people are blowing up on YouTube, right? And Spotify is trying to compete with YouTube, so they're doing a lot of video, trying to combat it. And they're doing you get paid for how many views you get now if they have a Spotify Premium or whatever. But we were going for couchable podcasts. So that's an actual show that someone can sit down on their couch at home, turn on the YouTube app, and actually watch something from like end to end. So the three things we did there was something that had a visual aspect to it, like a reaction show, right? Either a cool set and a cool person, or like showing off clips. So like one of our shows is called Behind the Power, and it's with one of the original VFX artists from Power Rangers from the 90s.
Yeah.
And he shows off the scenes that he did, how he made them and all that. And he brings on a guest, either me or a toy maker or an actual Ranger actor. And he goes through the actual clips. So it's visual. Mm-hmm. The second thing is shortness. Like, it needs to be punchy. 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And like, it could be an hour, but as long as there's no fluff or waste in that hour. And then the third thing I would just say is as many clips as possible. We try to do like 10.
10 clips. And then
if you're weekly, 10.
And are those 10 clips Reels format, or are they clips that you would also post in like a podcast cuts playlist inside of the channel?
We did both, but YouTube doesn't like when you take a piece of an existing video and repurpose it. They like the shorts, right? You could do that all day. But say this conversation is an hour long and you take like 3 minutes and you put it in on there, they don't like that. They will, because they can tell that it came from the same place. I don't know how. So they don't like it. So that's why Joe Rogan and other places have a separate clips channel where they actually post that. What we do is that we'll take like a couple pieces that is not in the episode and make those 2-3 minute clips and put it on the same channel. Or like segments.
So once you shoot the full podcast, you're not going to necessarily post that full podcast. You're going to take parts away from it so you can post it as clips inside of that same channel.
Yep. The easy way to do it is like segments, right?
Yeah.
Or just like posting extra that just didn't fit in that punchiness, but it's still good. You could just put it in there.
Okay. Cool. Well, that's cool. I've been seeing a lot of podcasts that are kind of switching from a podcast, and it's more of a work session with two people. And then, you bring on an expert, and then this expert will be talking about how to generate creatives using AI, right? For example. And so the expert will share the screen, and it will be sort of a work session so people watching can get some value from it, as more of an education content as opposed to just entertainment. Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's like a buddy work session. It's visual, right? So it's that visualness and like like more interactive. Like you're a fly on the wall and watching someone build something or like someone troubleshoot something. Those are great. Yeah.
So thank you for sharing all of those insights. Let's switch gears a little bit to talking about your agency. What do you guys currently provide?
So we do just kind of like the podcast way. We do end to end, where we'll strategize an offer for a company, we'll craft that offer, right? We come up with scripts for video ads for that offer. We'll film and edit those videos for those scripts, and then we'll launch their ads on Meta, just Meta for right now, YouTube ads as well. And then we set up their back end for automations like on Go High Level or whatever CRM they need. I prefer Go High Level, but like to actually, now they know what they're selling, to who they're selling, and then it's getting out there through Meta ads, but then now they have like a back end autopilot nurturing. You know this. It's like they just nurture the lead on the back end, so then we can help free up some entrepreneurs from the grind.
Yeah, for sure. And when you talk about freeing up entrepreneurs from the grind, do you have a specific niche that you work with?
We're pivoting to just working with home service businesses like HVAC, plumbing, roofing. I feel like that's the people that need our help the most because they're either family owned or they're scrappy. We also work with a lot of speakers and consultants that we still dabble, but we're not targeting. We still help them, and there are clients that carried over from the podcast side, but we're not actively searching for them. Okay,
so you work with home services mostly and coaches, right? But you're specifically focusing on home services. Mm-hmm. How did you define that as your target audience?
The romantic answer is that they need our help, right? These are moms and dads, mostly in my eyes, dads that are working all day long, waking up early, barely getting time to see their kids and their family and actually enjoy being an entrepreneur. That's the romantic answer. I want to help those people because I was that person, right? But the selfish answer is really that they have a system. They have a system. They have the high ticket item, and they have a high profit.
Yeah.
So they can actually afford the services.
Do you feel like that niche is saturated?
Yes, but I think we can stand out because we're a video production agency too. A lot of our like competitors, especially in the area in Orlando, they're all ad focused, and then they have either they make graphics or they have the person recorded on their phone and then they edit it. Like that works at a time, but we have an actual video production team that goes out to the customer and actually does like uses cinema cameras and all this to actually make good ads. So I think that's our differentiator. So I don't see that many people doing that.
And you're not just using, when you say cinema cameras, you mean cinema cameras that cost $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, right? Mm-hmm. You have heavy equipment that can generate super high quality, like the highest quality video.
Mm-hmm. Correct. But we're not doing like Super Bowl ads for them, right? Because the best ads are still more simple, but we still want them to look good. So we shoot them with high quality equipment, but they aren't Super Bowl quality. They're not movie quality because those don't do as well than they do in this medium tier. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, I would love to go back and dive more into that. But you know, for now, I want to keep things kind of in a specific way where we talk about your niche. And then the next thing that I like to talk about is the offer, right? First, you have an audience, and then you create an offer for them. You talked briefly that you help your clients create their offers. Now, how did you create your offer?
Basically, found troubleshooting, trial and error, trying to figure out exactly what these people need. There is a second piece to that people. I've seen a lot of my clients need someone to follow up with leads. Like their operational readiness is not there. But I figured it out through trial and error. Hey, we're just going to do video. It's not enough. We got to add ads to it. All right, cool. Let's do ads. That's not enough. We got to add the organization and back end. That's not enough. We got to add nurturing so they can actually work the leads while they're sleeping or they're eating dinner. So it's just like we kept stacking and stacking till we got to a point where, okay, this is an actual solution to a problem.
Right. Amazing. So you just refined the offer as you worked more with these clients. Now, through this time of getting clients, specifically for the home services, how are you generating leads so to close them, to become clients?
Organic and ads. So we actually use our own system that we sell. That's kind of how we built it. So we're a customer of our own product. and we use the 5-point system, 6-point system to come up with the offer, film the video, edit the video, post it, and nurture the leads. But a lot of our customers came from organic content.
Organic content to get customers. And now, do you also get a lot of referral clients?
A lot of referrals, but most of the time we're saying no to referrals.
Oh, why is that?
Because usually, like, we'll have an HVAC client that's seeing a lot of success with us, and then they're excited and they want to help, kind of like reciprocate, and then they'll try to refer like a realtor or a pressure washer. And the realtor, that's not our niche. That's a whole different market. The power washer may not be ready. They're a freelancer. They charge $80 a driveway. It's just not our niche. So we're thankful, but it's usually we have to say no.
All right. Now, why do you think it's important to say no to some businesses?
Dude, I used to say yes to everything. Like, we'll figure it out, right? Because I want the revenue. But you're doing yourself a disservice, but you're also doing your clients a disservice because you're not fine-tuning what you learned over here with the roofing client that you can help with the HVAC client over here because they're very similar, right?
Right.
Whatever I learned with a coaching client or a consulting client, speaker client, it could possibly help, but it's not going to always help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. And so most of the business you get is organic content. And is the organic content that's generating this business coming from your personal profile or your agency profile or somewhere else?
Both. So I mostly post on the agency profile. But what I found is that a lot of leads, people don't want to follow a logo. They want to follow a face. So I also collab post it and cross post it on my personal. So then they can see that there's an actual human behind this and there's a team behind this. And we found that once we started doing that, we actually got better leads and better customers.
Yeah, for sure. So when you get a lead, are you the one engaging with the lead? Do you have a sales team? How does your sales process look like?
For our agency right now, it's just me.
Okay.
It's just me taking all the meetings because we're still fine tuning this new niche, and I want to make sure that we sell it and set it up properly, and that we're taking on the right client.
Wow. Now, why do you think it's important for you to take control of all of the sales calls while you refine your offer and your niche?
Just because it's all up here, right? It's that shitty answer, right? That of a business owner, like, I know better, right? I know better, but I also don't. I know what I don't know, so I have to figure it out and then document it. So then eventually I can systemize it and delegate it. Yeah,
for sure. And when you say that you know better, I don't see that as you on a high horse saying that. I see you as the business owner who's the most incentivized from your business to generate success, right? Number one. And number two, you have all of the context and all of the experience of running an agency and providing a service. You also have sales abilities and you know your product really well, which gives you the ability to customize and refine that offer so it works, right? And that's what you've been able to do. And that's what you do when you say, oh, we're stacking another service, we're stacking another feature, we're stacking another something. Is that how you see it as well?
Yeah, it's like, how you hear speed to lead? Yeah. I felt like it's speed to value, speed to stacking, speed to adding and refining, speed to refining, because I'm hearing what people have problems with so we can quickly change the messaging. But then I'm also seeing what they're not interested in so we can either remove it or add something new. I'm just so close to it, which is good in the beginning, right? But I want to get to your level to where I don't have to do that.
Right. Yeah. And now, so I did get to a level where I didn't have to do that, right? And I have a clear answer of what that level needs to look like. But what do you perceive to be the value that your offer, your niche, your service needs to get to where you start delegating the sales process?
I think, personally, for me, I need to get the messaging. I think our offer's tight. It's great. Our offer's fantastic. Our pricing, too. But I feel like we need our messaging to get it out there needs to keep getting refined, and our like landing page and our booking process, our funnel needs to be a little bit more refined because I'm picky and I'm a perfectionist. And then once that, I can document the sales flow that I do with my deck. And once I feel like we're in a comfortable spot, at least 80% of the way with all three of those, I'll delegate it off.
Yeah. And when you say you're picky, I want to highlight to the audience that I can notice you're picky, right? Because I've gone through your website. It's spotless. It's one of the best agency websites that I've seen. You have testimonials, tons of them. You have a lot of different dynamics in the website, right? So the way it scrolls and the way that the whole journey of the client is tight and it's super pretty as well. The aesthetics are there. And I mean, look at your podcast setting, right? So I think that's really important when you're an agency. Your website is your storefront, right? Mm-hmm. When you're generating so much traffic to your website, it needs to be tight so it generates higher conversion. And you've worked a lot with businesses to generate them results, right? Be videos, ads, podcasts, and creating a segue here for us to talk about video ads, right? What do you think it's important? Because you touched upon what works, right? High production sometimes may not work as low production. However, what about video formats? What do you see working as ads for clients?
I see we're doing this new method that I think we're going to lean into more, is the TikTok style ad, where it's not like Mr. Beast all in your face, but at least it has some type of incredible hook. Like, for example, one of our best performing HVAC ads is the owner of the HVAC company. He's like talking, and then he gets hit by a truck, and it's his own truck, and it's him in the truck saying, "You need a new AC unit." That gets so much attention in the beginning because it's entertaining that they'll stay a little bit longer and hear the offer. Those, and then UGC are doing really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think pattern breaking is really the first one, right? You need to constantly find ways to break pattern. Mm-hmm. What I'm seeing now, I just saw an ad that I posted on stories of a real estate agency, trying to generate buyer leads for their property. Mm-hmm. And so it's basically this realtor that is being recorded from a phone. And then there's a camera guy in front of him and him talking. And there's a tagline in the video, something like catchy.
A text hook.
Yeah, text hook. Exactly. Text hooks. You got to have text hooks in every video ad now.
It's a rule now. If we launch an ad, it needs to have a text hook.
Wow.
They perform so much better.
Yes, text hook. That's it. And then he jumps on a pool. And then he jumps like from the second balcony to the pool, right? Which is kind of crazy. He's wearing a suit. Mm-hmm. You got the attention. Mm-hmm. And then as the film person films with the phone, him jumping on the pool, the next cut is another real estate agent that's super dressed up, pretty woman, walking and giving the offer. But at that point, you got the user's attention. Mm-hmm. That's a beautiful ad, right? And you're not seeing that much of it right now. So I feel like not yet. Because in the beginning, it's kind of hard to think of these concepts for the perspective of an agency owner and understand how they need to adapt, how to work with their clients, how to train their team to capture these things. So I feel like if you're always ahead in trying these new formats, that's how you can generate better results for your clients, right? Mm-hmm. How do you think about these new formats in terms of working with your team so they can work with your clients and create these types of ads?
Two ways. The first one is we always do a brainstorm session after the strategy session, before the filming, to see let's just throw things on the wall and see what we can come up with that would be interesting to see while the offer is being talked about, and then 2, just scrolling, man. I'll scroll TikTok before bed, during lunch break, when I wake up and have my coffee, just to see, like, is there anything that inspires me or I can steal and repurpose?
Right. And so when you're scrolling, you're not doom scrolling, right? You're consciously thinking about like, ooh, this is nice. Ooh, has a lot of engagement. And then what does your process look like when you find something that is cool during scrolling? How do you save it? How do you share with your team? How do you operationalize that format so it gets produced?
I save it on the TikTok app, right? But then you can copy the link and we send it to a specific Slack channel. And we have to put in the client's name on top of it, and then it records in our Airtable into an idea sheet automatically. But then we actually pull that up when we do the brainstorm.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. I find that that's usually the most difficult part, from the time of having an idea to operationalizing it, right? Everybody has ideas. I think the magic comes in the idea to actualization. And now we talked a little bit about team and how you have systems and processes. What's your current team structure right now?
We kind of run it like a kitchen. So that's our whole theme, is like we're a bakery, right? So crumbs, clips, right? And we have our managers are sous chefs, and our like coordinators are expo. But right now we have a video team that half of them handle the podcast, other half handles the ads creation, the creative. We have graphic designers that help with supporting both the podcast and the ads creation. And then we have operations sous chef that handles the actual coordination of making sure everything gets taken care of. An account manager for each. We have 3 account managers, but they handle talking to the client. If they're like something new that I'm testing, or someone like got referred, like a friend, I'll do it as an account manager. I shouldn't, right? But I do it. And then we also have remote editors that help us with some of the fancier things, and a VFX artist on hand to help us with some things. Oh, that's and then beautiful. Of course, 2 media buyers to handle the ad setup, and then 2 go high level experts, so CRM admin experts.
So you mentioned quite a bit of analysts, right? Operation roles. You did mention some managerial roles. What are your managers? Can you go over that again?
We call them sous chefs, operational sous chefs. Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead. Sorry.
No, they just make sure they did what I used to do, was just like make sure that, hey, all the tasks are being created, they're automated, but make sure they're taken care of, they're being worked on, and they get delivered so the account manager can handle it. Yeah.
No, I love that it's so cohesive, from the name Brandcrumbs, right, to like this food kind of perspective. Are you like, have you worked in a kitchen?
No. But I worked in hospitality all my life. I worked at Disney for 10 years.
Okay.
And then I worked at Hard Rock Cafe, so I got to see a little bit of that. But I've just been in hospitality, and I can see that like the tightest operation to feed people and make them happy is a kitchen. The way it runs, the Yes Chef, all that. The fry station's here, the salad station, dessert station. So that's how we run it too.
I love it. I worked at the Ritz-Carlton as a busboy for a year when I was 20 years old. And I also take a lot of inspiration from them, because it's, super high service hotel. They have their own credo book. They have meetings before the start of the shift, right? They have a lot of interesting dynamics that I was able to apply in my agency. And so what did you do at Disney? You spent 10 years there? Wow. What were the different roles?
I started at 16. I got hired at 15, but I had to wait 2 months to my 16th birthday. And I started as a cashier at a store. And then I ended as it's almost like a general manager outside, where we work multiple stores.
Wow.
Like we had multiple stores that we're responsible for.
And then you went from hospitality to being promoter of a club?
No, yeah. And then I went to Hard Rock Cafe, and I was the lead of retail there, one of the leaders of retail there. Mm-hmm. But the entire time through the side, I had this fun like side hustle of music and concert promotion, and then I realized that they need to be marketed better, and I got to learn how to use a camera and how to edit to promote those events. That's all on the side.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. So side hustle became the main hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. That's my story as well. I love that. And you've worked with, how many clients would you say you've worked with so far in this space of marketing services?
In the marketing side, we have 12 right now that we're completely focused on, but we've helped 42 different
clients.
Yeah.
And
just in the marketing side. On the podcast side, like 58.
Okay. So you've done over 150 projects with brands, right? In different formats. Getting their message out there, right? Mm-hmm. What's your best case study so far? Like, what's one that stands out the most?
My favorite right now is the HVAC client, because they took a chance on us because we hadn't done HVAC before, but we knew the framework, and we partnered up. And on their slowest month, they made $15,000 or $25,000 last year in January. This year, they made $87,000 from just a few more sales that came from the campaign we built for them.
Wow. That's a big increase in revenue, right? Like we're talking 3-4x increase in revenue in a very competitive space. If you're running Google search leads for HVAC, you're going to get slaughtered, right? What do you think is the main ways to generate such good returns for HVAC?
I think it needs to be mainly the menu you offer, right? And how you message that. So before we got into this HVAC client, they said, oh, we do new installs, we do repair, we do maintenance, we do duct work, duct replacement. We do all this, right? And this is what we do. Here's our flyer. Here's our ad. What, even for them or for roofing or plumbing, you need to figure out what's the one service you want to sell, right? That you want to push, not just sell, but push the most, right? We picked new install because it's the highest ticket and highest profit margin, and it's fast, and he loved doing it. You take that, and then I like to work from that. Then who's the perfect person for that offer? And why are they the perfect person? What are their pain points? Where are they? And then craft an offer and then scripts specifically talking to that audience for that offer. So, long story short, it's sure you can offer a menu of services, right? And you should for the roller coaster of busyness. But if you're going to put marketing dollars behind something or actually want to be successful in the HVAC side, push what makes you happiest and what brings you the most money, and just lead with that. Go crazy with that. Don't just try to sell everything at once.
Yeah, for sure. And do you ever get into details with the client that goes beyond the initial offers? Like, let's say an upsell strategy. Do you get into that with them, or is that sort of on them to figure out?
We've got into the sales process. So we found that we could give someone 50 new leads, 81 new leads in a month. And then they could probably book half of them, right? They can book appointments with half of them. And then they pitch those half on their service, but they maybe only sold 2. So then that tells me it's either a lead quality problem or it's a sales problem, right? So we've gotten into the actual sales process. I'm like, walk me through how you sell this. Take me through everything. And we've kind of consulted, from my sales background, consulted on the customer journey for them. Like, hey, when you show up, what are you doing? Like, how are you introducing yourself? How are you pitching it? How are you asking for the close? That's not something we offer, but we found that we're getting into it because we're dissecting that if it's an us problem or it's a them problem.
Which is a lot of times a them problem when you're only focused in lead generation, right? Mm-hmm. Because speed to lead, which is something you hinted at, is so important, right? You could generate as many leads as you want to a business, but if they don't engage that lead, then it's just going down the drain. Now, you mentioned high level, right? You mentioned that you set up a high level for them. Is there a specific structure that you like to get to as just an out-of-the-box solution?
We have a snapshot that we use for home services pros that has the the right pipeline, the right stages, has the automations built in there, has the nurture sequences put in there, and then my favorite part is the reputation management side, because that's so self-contained, but it's so important. We can take someone who has 100 HVAC reviews or 100 reviews on Google to 1,000 by doing nothing extra on their end, just using Go High Level. So that's like my favorite piece of the high level. So we in our snapshot we do the actual funnel stages, the automations, and then the reputation management.
Yeah, the reputation management for these businesses is super important, right? Taking 100 reviews to 1,000 reviews. How do you do that?
Dude, I stumbled upon it because I saw that it has the Go High Level has this opportunity, this automation, this integration, right? So your Google My Business profile. And what I found that most people weren't doing is that they'll use House Call Pro or Jobber for their projects. And they don't automatically send hey, thanks, we hope you like our service, here, leave us a review. That's it. But you almost got to take it as a sales process. So with Go High Level, we can set automations that when a new job is finished as a trigger, we can send them a text message and an email in 24 hours and say, hey, I'm Vic, the owner. I'm Chris, the owner. I just want to see how your project went. Can you tell me, would you rate it from 1 to 5? And if they say 4 or 5, great, thank you. Could you leave us a review? If they do 3 or under, can I give you a call today? I want to make this right. So they get an extra opportunity to actually help and save their service. But you can't gatekeep a review. That's illegal.
Yeah.
But it gives the owner another shot to make it right. But then if they don't answer in 2-3 days, they get another nudge, right? Another, hey, could you leave us a review?
Yeah.
Once we get the review, we thank them automatically. But then it also automates on the back end to, if it's a 5-star, it'll automatically take that review, take a template, and upload it to their social media, like Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, whatever, and post their review automatically. So now not only are they asking for reviews on autopilot, but they're also pushing and bragging their reviews on autopilot too.
That is such a service that you're doing to these business owners, because one, that's how they stand out in the competitive space, right? 2, you don't see that many agencies that actually take such a microscope to a business and think of all of the features and services that you can do for them that's really going to empower them. So props to you on that. I think, if anyone listening and is in the home space services, definitely would be awesome to connect with you, right? If they're home repair, they should definitely talk to you, because, from the agency owner perspective and working with many agencies, I don't see that many that go to that depth of detail to helping their clients, right? Specifically home repair. So that's pretty awesome. And one thing that I've noticed that you can do really well, better than many people in the agency space, is making brands feel bigger than they seem, right?
That's my favorite thing to do.
Tell us a little bit about that. How do you look at making a brand seem bigger than they feel?
It just comes from my background, because when I was doing the concert promotion a long time ago, and artist promotion, I had to make these artists look bigger than they were, right? This person has 80 listens on Spotify. I need them to look like Drake, right? And their promotion. So, and it worked. So then I'm I did that for myself, from our brands. Our first website was great, but it made us look like an actual corporate company. I wanted to look bigger. Eventually we grew into that bigger team, right? But we just need to take I guess we just need to take, if it's a mom and pop HVAC company, we need to be able to like not just make them look good and look professional, but it sets a trust that people actually will spend money with them. And it's almost like a first date, right? Like if you're not going to get the first date if you look terrible, if you smell, if you don't have a car, if your profile on Tinder, I never do Tinder, but your profile on Tinder doesn't have the right photo. If you're not putting your best foot forward, how can anyone give you some attention and then get trust for you, like gain trust? So we just kept taking that from the music side, put it to my own business. And then my favorite companies are the ones that are small mom and pops, right? That built this from the ground up, wanted to escape the 9-to-5. They also needed it. They need to be able to look bigger. So like get the polos, right? Get the polos with the logo, get the truck wrapped, put those images on the on your profile, on your website. Get a nice website, get business cards that not just look good, but feel good, right? And all that just adds like another subconscious ingredient to your recipe that people would just like want it. And like, that's someone I can trust. I rambled, but I think you get the gist.
No, I get the idea. It's like thinking of all of the elements that make you all of the elements and curate the elements to be perceived in the best way possible.
Exactly.
Right. And so you talked about website, business cards, trucks, social media, right? What are other avenues that we haven't touched that would be that would fall under these elements?
I'd say the messaging, the communication. Mm-hmm. Like, how does the emails look, mm-hmm. right? Like, do they look professional? Do they sound professional? Do you have an actual email address? Like, or is it at gmail.com? Just at company.com will send you miles above. Do you have the Google My Business profile? Do you have photos on there? Do you have reviews on there? I just keep taking it back to dating, right? Like, I would want my date to think like, oh, they actually put thought into this. Like, they cared. And then, okay, I can trust them to take me out. For HVAC, for roofing, for plumbing, if you look like someone that could be trusted, someone can trust, they're most likely going to trust you and give you money.
Right. Are there clients that, you suggested these improvements in these different elements, mm-hmm. that they said, nah, I don't care about the social media presence. It's fine. Just run it the way it is. Just do that video ad on Meta and that's it. Have you ran into those clients?
I have, and they're just not our client.
Okay.
Because like, we don't do social media content. Like, we don't do organic content. We do ads. We give it to them so they can post it as organic content, right? But we don't get into the social media management agency game. It's mm-hmm. a whole other game. But if they're that stubborn and that dense that they're like, oh, no, social media is not going to do it. I need to go to networking events. I need to put out flyers. I need to go do word of mouth. Then they're not my client. It just won't work because now I have to educate them on this while also doing it for them. It's not going to work.
Have you ran into clients where you suggested a price increase on their end to charge more? Because let's say you started working with them, you made them feel so much bigger than they were before, right? Now they're not like some just, around the corner HVAC. Now they're like, oh, people feel big in this city. Mm-hmm. And they're generating more leads. And you're like, hey, client, why don't you increase your prices?
Yeah, I've done it. And they've done it. Most of the time, they increment it, right?
Yeah.
I had a client that was charging $3,000 for a service that another client was charging $10,000 for.
Wow.
And they did the exact same thing, but they did it in completely different target audiences. So because I have non-competes, but I'm like, dude, this person's doing it doing the same thing you're doing, and so now he's selling it for $7,500. The next increase would be $12,000.
Wow.
Yeah, but like you have to charge higher to perceive your value too.
That's right. That's another element of perceived value and making it seem bigger than you actually are. And it's the best one. It's what puts money in their pocket. It's what they can pay you more. So really helping the client make more money makes it really a decision a lot easier to stay with you and pay you more money, right? And continue paying you more money. So I love that. And I love all of the insights you shared. now we're going to jump into some rapid fire questions, okay? So what's the most impactful software that you use to run your agency?
It has to be Zapier and Make.
Automation sound.
Yeah, man.
And this one is obvious, but how many niches are you actively working with right now?
Targeting 1, working with 4, but
Amazing.
Targeting 1 moving forward.
What's your average monthly ad spend?
Personal or client?
For your agency.
Our agency, we got up to 3,500
Okay.
a month.
Nice.
Yeah.
And can you share one unique tactic that you've used to acquire new clients?
Oh man, have you heard of the blue message?
Yes.
So go high level, and you're sending automated messages. It's all on Android, right? It's in the green bubble. It just people don't like that for some reason. We turned on the blue message through a partner, and now they're getting iPhone messages. Our response rate jumped.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like spam, right?
No, it's crazy, but it's the same thing.
Yeah. And what did you use? What software did you use?
So I first looked into Send Blue, which was like the main one, right? But their sales process was atrocious, and they gatekeep their pricing for so long it wouldn't answer my questions. Found Link, LINQ, and they are phenomenal.
If you could automate one part of your business, what would it be?
Man, I think it would be probably editing my own content. If I could automate my own.
For sure. Which marketing trend do you think is overrated?
Using AI. Avatars. I think it's overrated. It's not there yet, and I can clearly tell when it's an AI person in a video. And I mean, you know what? Keep doing it because it makes us look better.
Yeah, for sure. If you had to focus on only one marketing channel for growth, what would it be?
It has to be Meta.
What's your current revenue and how are you initially funded?
Initially funded out of my pocket, my own money. Bought had to ask my wife if can I buy this camera that's $1,300? Now we're buying $8,000, $10,000 cameras. Our current revenue is like $48K a month through retainer, but we still have a lot of one-off projects and podcasts that takes it to the top.
Nice. How do you manage your cash flow as you scale?
Dude, I have to make sure I don't spend money. When I see that we're having a good month, I'm like, all right, cool. What can we do with this extra bunch? Can we bring on someone else to help us with this aspect, or can we increase our ad spend? Can we test a new creative? But mainly, we have 2 bank accounts, one for the expenses and then one for the profit and taxes, right? And we have to use that. Have you heard of Sequence? They're like a automation, but for finances. So like you could say, oh, I want 10% of this to go here, 30% to go here, kind of like deducting kind of out of your paycheck.
Yeah.
But they do it for businesses, and we use that to like try to stay balanced the entire time, because I got tired of. There's only been twice where I'm like, I don't know if I can make payroll this week, and I never want to do that again.
Yeah, no, that's super stressful. We've all been there. And speaking of payroll, what is the size of your team and how do you approach hiring?
So I used to approach hiring. We have a lot of people here that worked at Disney too. And they either had a film degree or a graphic design degree or a management degree. But I went for people that knew how to treat people well and how to work well with others. And Disney just trains you on that, right? If they do it right. Now, I look for that, but I also look for potential to where of skill. So, like, if they can do this on their own and they can show me some type of initiative, that's the type of person I want, because then I can build them up a little bit to what we need. Mm-hmm. But we can't teach those skills. We can't teach taking initiative. We can't teach how to treat people better.
Yeah. And what is the size of your team?
12 of us.
Nice.
12.
What is your biggest bottleneck today?
Me.
There we go. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Well, Vic, thank you so much for all of your time.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
So I listened to the podcast. I've listened to a couple episodes. You had the bad marketing guy, that was interesting. But something I wanted to ask you is, and I'm having nightmares about it. So I need you to give me your insight. You pivoted your agency to help white label and help other agencies, right? Because you wanted that bigger transaction, right? You wanted that $10,000 at a time instead of $600 a client, right? I found that a lot of agencies are pivoting to that and like coaching, where they're just looking for higher transactions. Do you think that that's really the way to go? And it almost like you shouldn't start an agency these days. They're almost like by default set up to not be big business. They're set up to be small business always.
What do you mean?
So you switched to pivoting to help other agencies, right? And kind of like white labeling for other agencies, right? Mm-hmm. I'm still direct to consumer, right? I'm helping my clients. You stopped doing that. Do you think that starting an agency today is almost foolish because you're going to be here at all the time, but you can serve B2B and be up here?
But so we still do white label services. Like that's the core of our business. Mm-hmm. We also been pushing more client acquisition for agencies because that has a higher ticket, right? The white labeling is around the $690 a month. The client acquisition, it's $1,800, right? $2,500 plus. And then we also have a niche, an agency that we focus on a particular niche, like going direct to businesses, because we also have a higher ticket there. Like our ticket is a starting $3,500 a month for ads for this niche. And we're also doing, more agency coaching, things like that too, because it does bring more margin. Now, and in the interview or in the podcast with the Bad Marketing, with Curtis from Bad Marketing, they also focus on going straight to businesses. So they sell to e-com businesses, local lead gen, and info. But their average deal size is bigger, right? Curtis was saying that he pitches a 10K package, and then if it's too much for a business, he'll pitch the 5K package. Now, he's still selling to businesses just like you, right? Just like you're going to a business owner and saying, hey, my retainer is, right, $5,000 or something like that. I think for agencies in general, the best approach is doing exactly what you're doing, right? Thinking about a very specific segment that you're serving, finding a fulfillment strategy that's going to offer results for them. And then over time, you go from the 1,500 to the 2,500 to the 5,000 to the 10,000 by providing same services or changing the services a little bit, but now you just charge more, right? If you would compare it to the bottle service space, you can buy a bottle of Kettle One or whatever for like $20, $50, but at the club, they're spending $1,500, right? Same product, but it's a different setting, it's a different feel. And so, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think about it like, I'm 34. I'm like, do I want to keep doing this when I'm 55? Like, what am I going to be doing when I'm 55? Like, what's the end goal? And I'm like, is agency really the route that someone should take when they start something off? It's really easy to start, right? Really hard to keep and grow. But I keep thinking like, what am I going to do at 55? And maybe not starting an agency was the right thing to do.
Right. So, like this is pretty interesting. I'm going to so the Bad Marketing team, Eddie Malouf and Ashton Shanks, they have a mentorship called Agency Founders Accelerator, right? I'm going to Cancun tonight, actually, to spend the weekend with them because I'm in their mentorship.
Nice.
And so the conversation there is usually like, what can we do to scale more, right? And so what I've seen in these last 4 years in the agency space is that you have a few avenues, right? The people that are popping off and doing like 100 million months are people that are teaming up with with businesses in their niche and taking an equity inside of them. So you teaming up with HVACs, for example, is one way that you can, have equity in businesses and then not depend on the agency services retainers every month, right?
Got it.
The other way is you can become an agency coach, right? You can mentor other agencies so they can do exactly like the playbook that you're creating for businesses, and then sell 15,000 community events, coaching communities, right? So that's what other agencies have been able to scale to $1 million a month doing, that I've seen. And then the other avenue, the third avenue, is buying other agencies. And really like scaling up maybe like agencies within the HVAC niche and just buying those, right? And there are a lot of strategic ways to buy agencies where you're not putting any money down. And there are many people that talk about that. And I guess the fourth thing is starting your own product that you can scale, right? So something that I'm doing is I started creating an AI software that is going to help with churn for your clients, and it's going to help with upsells for your clients. So basically, a software that reads all of your client communication and detects client sentiment of churn or possibilities of upsell.
Cool.
And so those are the 4 avenues that you can think about in what fits you best, so that you can go from having like the 100K months to the 2, 5, 10 million months, if that's what you choose, or a way that you can just not have the chaos of running an agency, right? It's a lot of people, it's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of dealing with clients, and so it just depends on your preferences and the scalability and the profit margins you're looking for.
Got it. I was curious. I wanted to hear from I want to get to your level.
Yeah, no, we're in the same level, but Vic, man, I appreciate connecting so much. It's been an incredible conversation. Before we sign off though, is there one piece of advice that you like to give to other agency owners?
I'd say love is not going to be enough, man. Like if you love to do video and you love to shoot and film and edit and produce these great videos, that's awesome. That's cute, right? That's amazing. That's great for your heart. But that's not enough to keep your business afloat. You got to figure out the actual parts that keep your business afloat and fall in love with those pieces, or fall in love with delegating to those pieces.
Amazing. And where can listeners connect with you?
My agency is Brandcrumbs. You can find us on Instagram at brand.crumbs. And my personal profile is at Vic Happens, like shit happens.
I love that. Thank you for joining us, Vic. And everyone tuning in, make sure to subscribe to Growth Lab Sessions so you never miss an episode. If you found this conversation valuable, leave us a review and follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram for more content for agency owners. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you on the next one.